It's easy to find information on most any topic on the internet. Whether or not that information is reliable, up to date, and unbiased is really the big question for anyone doing research on the web. Books, magazine, journal, and newspaper articles have to meet stronger quality control standards, and it's usually not hard to figure out when something was published, who published it, and if the information is reliable or not. It's not quite like that with information you find on the web. Anyone can create a website, and usually there aren't standards to evaluate the quality and accuracy of the information. So that makes it even more important to take the time to make sure to critically examine the information and the website. Using 5 important criteria: accuracy, authority, objectivity, currency, and coverage can make wading through the mass of information less confusing and help you be a better consumer of information. Authority has to do with the people or organizations who actually publish the material to the web. When you are examining the authority of a web page, you should ask questions like, who wrote or created this page? What qualifications or personal background about the author are given? Is there a way to contact the author? And is this an individual author's work, or are they supported by an organization or commercial body? Accuracy has to do with verifying the information given on the web page. Ask questions like, are the claims or facts documented? Is the information similar to what's reported in other online sources? Are there links provided to other sources? Do these seem reputable? Objectivity or bias deals with the point of view taken by the author and the source. Sometimes people think of bias as a negative thing. However, this isn't the case. Bias isn't good or bad, it simply is. Your job when evaluating is to identify if there is a bias and the level of it. Ask questions like, does the information presented try to sway the audience's opinion? Is the page trying to explain, inform, persuade, or sell something? Is a single point of view presented, or are multiple perspectives on the subject addressed? Currency of a site refers to 1. How current the information presented is, and 2. How often the site is updated or maintained. It is important to know when a site was created, when it was last updated, and if all the links are current. Evaluating a website for currency involves finding the date information and asking, when was the information first written? When was it placed on the web? When was it last revised? And are there clues you can use to determine the age of the information? Coverage deals with the source in an overall perspective. Ask questions like, is the target audience for the source identified? What is the type of web source? Is it, say, an online magazine or newspaper, a blog, a personal page, or so on? How effectively does the source cover the topic? Does the source deal with your topic extensively, or is your topic only a small part of what's discussed in the source? Do links go to outside sources or stay within the overall website? In many cases, the evaluation categories can become intertwined. For example, if you learn something about a source's author, you will probably start to understand the bias. Let's look at some real-life examples and apply some of these evaluation questions to them. Here's the website for the Pacific Northwest tree octopus. Yes, it's okay to laugh. I'm going to start evaluating with authority. First, who created this page? Many web pages will have some kind of navigation at the top or bottom. If you see an About link, click on that. You could find information about the author or the organization he or she is a part of. This site starts on the About page, and it's telling us about the tree octopus. In that case, we need to look around for some clues about the author. Even if an author isn't given, you can still make assumptions about them. Say you were looking at an article with no author listed on the New York Times website. Would you think that person would have an advanced degree in physics? Probably not. What kind of background might that person have? They're probably a career journalist. This makes them more authoritative than perhaps you or I, but not an expert like a scientist, professor, or researcher. A journalist's job is to take information and make it accessible to a wide reading audience. Some facts may be missed or wrongly interpreted in their account of an event. If we scroll through the page, down at the bottom, here's something. The author of this article and its subsections is Lyle Zappato. Notice that he says the site is not associated with any school or educational organization, so it's probably personally created by him. We can click on his name to see what other information we might be able to find. So we come to a page on conspiracies he has created. Does this and the statement about not being associated with educational organizations or schools help us understand the author? We know he can build web pages, but we don't know if he has any degrees in biology or zoology. Now, let's look at the accuracy. If you have any doubts or concerns about the information in a source, try to see if you can locate similar information in other sources. It's not foolproof, but when you can find the same information in multiple sources, there's a stronger case that it's true. If I search on Google for the Pacific Northwest tree octopus, I get a lot of results. The first one is for the page we're already evaluating. The second one is for Wikipedia. While you may not want to use Wikipedia as a source on a paper, you can definitely use it for background research and verifying information. We can see in the first line that the tree octopus page was a hoax created by Lyle Zappato all the way back in 1998. Let's look at one other source to verify this. Snopes researches the validity of various stories and sites on the internet. We can see that they have classified the information on the Northwest tree octopus as false. So right now, unless you're writing a paper about hoax websites or humor on the web, we don't need to do anything else to determine that this would not be a suitable academic source. Here's another web page which is on homeschooling. Let's start off again by looking for information on the author. This page doesn't have an author listed, and there is no About link at the top or bottom of the page. In this case, one thing you can do is go to the main website this page is a part of. We can do that by clicking on a home link if provided in the navigation, or by deleting everything after the domain extension and the URL at the top of the browser. Here, the author introduces herself. She says that she has studied psychology and early childhood development, but she doesn't mention having degrees, so we don't know if she studied formally or informally. She is also a parent and uses her real-life experiences with her children as a basis for the article she writes. Back to the original article, she gives positives and negatives about homeschooling. Like with the Tree Octopus website, you would want to look up other sources about homeschooling to see if there is agreement with what she has written here. From an objectivity point of view, both sides of the issue are addressed, so the source is relatively unbiased. We can continue on evaluating by looking at the currency. Look for publication, posting, or update dates. It looks like this web page doesn't have an obvious date listed. In that case, use clues in the text to see if you can tell anything about the age. If the author refers to other sources, can you tell how old or new they are? Under the Benefits of Homeschooling section, a study from 2003 is mentioned. Could trends with homeschooling have changed enough in that time to make you question the information? Here, an article she references is from 2007. Finally, when it comes to coverage, what type of site is this? It's a .com site, which means the author could get a financial benefit from the ads which appear on the pages. It appears to be more of a blog, personally written by the author with her experiences and some research. And it would appear that the target audience is other parents raising their children as opposed to researchers on child development. You would want to put the answers to all of your evaluation questions together to make an overall decision on whether or not you wanted to use this for your research. If you need personal accounts from a parent, this may be a good choice. However, if you're looking for current academic research on the effects of homeschooling on children, you would probably want to pass this over and look for something else. So that's the process of evaluation. Be flexible in how you look at each source. Your topic will guide you towards choosing current or historical sources, information from experts or average people, and balanced or one-sided points of view. Your research need will assist you in knowing how much to consider one criteria over another. For example, for sources you need for a paper on a medical topic, you will want to evaluate for all the criteria mentioned earlier, but you may want to focus a little more on currency and authority to make sure the sources you choose are up to date and from experts in the field. If you ever have questions about evaluating a source, ask a librarian. We are great at helping you determine the usefulness of a source.